What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Troy Kearns podcast. We talk all things real estate, business, and entrepreneurship. Today, I've got someone that I've been wanting to speak with for a super long time. A really radical dude is probably the way I express it. Somebody that I look up to in terms of like just his in shapeness, and also is an awesome realtor. Bryan Casella, welcome.
Yeah, I guess the other side would probably call me a radical extremist, but thank you, bro. I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, no, I just like the first thing that I think I saw you doing like stuff on the monkey bars, and you're all tatted up, and I'm like, I like the way, like, because I'm a former realtor. I just gave my license up about a year and a half ago, and you kind of bucked the trends with the way you just looking at your YouTube, I'm like, oh, he had like a nice shaved head and like everything all clean cut. Yeah. Now, obviously, you're making some money, so you're living the way you want to live your life.
Yeah, man. And you know, I'm glad you brought that up, because that I think is a steady evolution of the human being too. And it really came down to me living more like me and not feeling like I needed to fit into a box. Because in the beginning, what are we taught? You have to wear the black suit, white shirt, black tie, have the short hair, you know, the classic, you know, advice that you get, which, you know, in a way isn't bad, right? Like, I want to be presentable. So I understand there's a professional etiquette when it comes to it. But even then, I wasn't wearing the suits that I wanted to wear. Right. I wasn't growing my hair out because I wanted to. Right. And as I grew more in confidence in myself, the real me started coming out, you know? So the suits got crazier. The cars got crazier. Right. I started, you know, cussing when before I wasn't, because I was told by everyone and everything around me to not curse. But I was like, dude, in my normal life, I curse.
Yeah. Like a sailor.
Why can't I? Oh, you know, you're going to put people off. So all these things started naturally evolving. So as that like personal development started going up, my individuality and expression started going up. And that's when the tattoos were shown and I got more, the hair grew out, right? I started wearing earrings again. So all the stuff that I had been doing anyway naturally came out. And I like showing that too, to show people like you can rock the boat and go literally against everything they tell you and still have success. Because just like we were talking about a little bit off the recording, I've literally broken all those rules, right? And I'm still having massive success. I've still grown a big brand. I still have a big team. Like, all my coaching is doing, like, everything is on the up and up. So I think it gives hope to a lot of people too, who think, hey, I don't fall into that box. Can I still do something? Or do I need to, in quotes, sell out and conform to that to see success, you know?
Yeah. You mentioned selling out, and we talked a little bit just just before we started. And I was like, yo, save that for the podcast. And you were jumping into like that you had been basically censored. And I wanted you to talk a little bit about that. First of all, before we get into that, tell me about like your backstory, where you live right now, where you came from, and how did you get into real estate?
Yeah, so I'm in Miami, Florida now. I moved here almost 2.5 years ago. May of 2021, I moved. Born and raised in the city of Los Angeles, not the nicest parts, that's for sure. You know, my family immigrated from South America. I was the first one born on American soil. Awesome. My parents had a fight and claw, you know, to make a decent living. We did okay. I can't say that we were dirt poor, but we didn't really have money either. So I had the classic, I think, maybe lower middle class, right? Type of, childhood. But one thing that I always rebelled against, I remember as a kid, and this is, I think, especially prevalent a lot in many cultures, but especially the Hispanic culture, they grill it into people to like not go for more, not be ambitious, right? Get the 9 to 5, be happy, look down, shut up, live your life, right? If you make money, you're evil, you probably cheated to get it, or you were born into it, or you're a movie star. Like, us, we don't make money. Basically, that's kind of the indoctrination you get as a kid, especially when you're an immigrant, because they don't want you to stand out, because they're afraid something's going to happen and you're going to get deported, or you get something bad is going to happen, right? So it's very like the meager existence. Be okay with it, right? We're guests here. This isn't our country. Chill the fuck out. You know, be quiet, right? Like, drive your Honda Civic with a smile on your face type thing, right?
Yeah.
But I always rebelled against that, bro. I was always like, fuck that, dude. That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, no, I want a Lamborghini. I had a Lamborghini poster when I was a kid, and they would tell me, take that shit off the wall, dude. You're not going to have that. Right. And again, I'm not like harassing or dissing my family for that. That's just the cultural conditioning. And I think it goes beyond the Hispanic culture. I think that's virtually in most cultures, unless you happen to be born into a family that, you know, instilled entrepreneurial values in you or really pushed you to push your limits as a human being. And if you did, that's a fucking blessing, right?
Right.
But I picked up basketball very early on. My dad, being a ex-professional soccer player in South America, raised me to play soccer. He had to give up his dream because my grandfather, his dad, died when he was 14. So he basically had to become the man of the house and work, and he gave up his dream. So he raised me playing soccer. I never liked it, right? And I picked up a basketball when I was 10, and I was like, I like this more. So he just supported it.
Same here.
Yeah, he just supported it. And, you know, you fast forward to make a long story short, I played high school, killed it, played in college, got a Division I scholarship, played overseas, wanted to make the NBA, third year overseas. I injure the same ankle twice again, have a surgery. I don't walk for 3 months, 4 months. I can't be cleared for physicals. My career is done at 24.
So I wanted to interrupt you in this podcast and just take a quick moment to tell you two things. Number one, we do this for free for you. I haven't made a nickel on social media at all. I'm doing this to provide you enough value. So all I'm asking for you to do is share it and give us a 5-star review. It'll totally help us out, and I really appreciate it. The other thing, if you want more free resources like our free Facebook group, it's Millionaire Mentorship Real Estate Investing on Facebook. All you gotta do is join it. It's free. It doesn't cost anything, and there's lots of resources there, and we'll definitely give you those for free, no charge. Here's the other thing. If you're serious about investing in real estate and you're ready to take action, I have a program. No matter where you're at in your real estate journey, I can help you out. I don't care if you've got 5 houses, 10 houses, no houses, 100 houses. I've got something that I can share with you that's going to make you a lot of money. And if you want to become financially free and you're brand new to real estate investing, this is the absolute thing you want to do. And here's the thing. What I've learned from most of my students right now is that it's not just an investing program. It's a mindset program. We're going to change the way you think about money. If you want to start investing, make sure you schedule a call with me and my team, and let's get the ball rolling. Guess what else? If you are like, man, I don't got the time and I make tons of money, I just enjoy listening to what you're going to say, that's cool too. We actually have set up a fund where you can invest with us, but you got to be an accredited investor. If you want to find out what that looks like, all you got to do is click the link in my bio, fill out the form. It takes you about 2 seconds, and then we'll let you know about the deals that we're doing. We're doing big deals in Kansas City. And this year, I think we'll do 2 huge deals in Kansas City. I'm looking at a few right now, and I want you to be a part of it. And if you've got more money than time, then that's what you should do. If you got more time than money, then schedule a call with me and my team, and we'll get you into our coaching program so that you can have more money than time.
So you were a badass though. Like if we're talking like, so I actually coach a Major League Baseball player in my mentorship program. But
nice.
Like I tell him, I'm like, you know, I can see like his confidence a little bit down in real estate. I'm like, bro, I know what's inside you. Like to get to the level that you're at, I know what's inside you. It's going to come out, and we're going to see it like rise to the top. So you playing at that high of a level at something, you know, injuries are going to take you out, right? Like that's what's going to get you. So you're into like yoga and physical fitness, and like you still ball, don't you?
Yeah, not really. I would say since I moved here to Miami, I've pretty much not played much at all. But I still have that itch in me. Like I still every once in a while will help a friend in one of his league games. But even then I went and I played one game and they kicked me out because I scored like 40 points, right? But I don't play. I can still run faster than probably most people. I can still dunk. Like I still have all that stuff. It's just,
how tall are you?
6'2".
So you just jump out of the gym?
I mean, I wouldn't say I jump out of the gym. Back in the day, close to that, but not now. Right after the injuries, like if we were to do this with my ankle, like flexion and going up, like my left ankle doesn't even have full range of motion because of the injuries and me breaking my bone and my tendons. So even to this day, I'm surprised. I'm like, man, how the fuck can I run this fast still and jump this high if I'm limited? How would I be now if I still had my original ankle? I could probably still fucking windmill and do all kinds of shit, you know? But that's life, right? But the key thing is in that phase, when I came back, I was like depressed, you know? And it took me a year to really get my shit together. Because in the meantime, you know, instead of coming back to the States, I went back to South America, chilled with my family.
What part of South America?
Argentina.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm hanging out with some of my family there, because I'm like fully bilingual. I can speak Spanish totally fine, or I can speak English totally fine. Like you're not going to drop me in South America and they're going to say, oh, he's a foreigner. Like I fit in. Same thing here. I don't have an accent when I speak English, so people don't think I speak Spanish, right?
I thought you were Italian. I thought you were Italian.
Yeah, a lot of people do. So because of the last name.
Yeah.
I'm hanging out with my uncle, working with him, doing okay. I stayed there for like a year and a half, because I knew when I got back to the States, I was going to have to face the music and get a real job and deal with all the bullshit that goes with it, right? I really took that time to realize like, okay, yeah, I don't feel good. This sucks. But it clicked in me eventually, like, okay, I can't just keep feeling sorry for myself. Like I make fun of the people that are 40 or 45 or 50 talking about when they were a ball player 30 years ago. It's like, dude, it didn't happen. You got injured or whatever, like move on. We can't keep harping about the past, because to me, that's somebody who's stuck at that age and they won't better themselves in their life. So I said, okay, I can't become that, dude. Like I have to change. And that's when I said, okay, instead of being, I call it being a little bitch, like most people do, where they'll look at real estate and rifle off why they can't be successful. I started looking at things and saying, okay, what attributes can I bring to the table? What have I developed in myself, even athletically, the last, 15, 20 years that would give me an advantage or a leg up or would fit with a profession? So I started looking around, talking to some of my friends who were entrepreneurs, because I knew I wasn't going to get a 9-to-5. That was out of the question for me. Like I told people, I got a taste of it when I was younger, working summer jobs. I was like, dude, I would rather live out on the street than get a 9-to-5. Like I'm not going to work for somebody else, because the corporate culture to me is just toxic, disgusting. I'm not going to kiss ass. I'm not going to sit across from somebody who's doing half the job I am and then be like, he gets paid the same as me. Like that wouldn't happen. Right. Like, and I dealt with that. Right. So I wasn't going to do it, even if it meant suffering. Like I was okay with that. And when I looked at real estate, bro, I was like, this makes sense. Like I don't have the sales skills. I don't even own a fucking suit, but I'm disciplined as shit. I'll work hard. I can learn. I can pick up the fundamentals and just drill them over and over. And there's no ceiling. I remember talking to the broker. I was like, dude, so if I come in and I sell 3 houses my first month, I make 3 commission checks. He's like, yeah. I was like, then where the fuck do I sign? You know what I mean? Like, I know I'm probably not going to sell 3, but the possibility to me was like, yes, I don't have to climb up the corporate ladder. I don't have to get promoted. It's basically predicated. You work hard, you learn it, you'll get the result. I was like, I'm in.
Yeah.
Right? I'm in.
It ties very much into athletics for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome that you were able to figure that out. Like I didn't really realize, I mean, it seems like you're pretty self-aware, because I didn't realize that most entrepreneurs, I got in trouble a lot as a kid. I bucked the system. I thought, I just was a bad kid, but really being a bad kid or not following the trends and going into what everybody else does actually makes you stand out in business, right?
100%. But I mean, like we brought up, and you kind of just aired it out right now. We're built the opposite. Everything. Like, look at school. In school, did you want to stand out? No, you wanted to blend in because you would be made fun of, right? Like everything. And now when we get into the entrepreneurial world, you have to flip that switch all of a sudden and stand alone, get attention, want it. And you're like, whoa. I just been bred through high school, middle school, and college to do the opposite. Now you want me to be this individual and be different and be unique. I was just trying to have friends and not be made fun of. You know what I mean? So it creates this shock. And I never liked that dynamic, by the way. I thought it was always stupid. So even in high school, like I would talk to everybody, the losers. I was a jock, bro. I'm sure you played sports too. So you're cool. But I talked to everybody. I would talk to the nerds, the people in the band. Like I didn't care because I didn't look at it that way.
Yeah.
I was like, you guys would like him, but because he's not a jock, you won't talk to him because you're afraid other people are going to say you're a loser. You're weird, bro. And people thought I was just like you thought. Even in my mind, I was like, wait, is there something wrong with me? How come I think and view the world differently than everybody else?
Right.
Like but whatever, like I never stepped into that fully where I accepted in quotes that I was crazy. I just thought, no, there's got to be something to this. Like I'll leave a check mark there that will review this later. I'm not going to accept that I'm crazy, you know?
Yeah. That's right. That's right. I'm sure you're not the first person to think that. I know for sure for me, like just being like, you get having people call you weird because you're doing something different, or like earning money is a bad thing, or whatever, just being hyper competitive. Like you're being hyper competitive. Sometimes being hyper competitive is like a bad thing, right? People are like, oh, just slow it. Like you just tell me you scored 40 points and with your friend's basketball team. And they're like, all right, get out of here. It's like, dude, domination's a good thing. Like, we want to dominate as a country. We want to dominate you want to dominate as a realtor. You don't want to be like, oh yeah, everybody should be able to get the same.
Yeah, and it's just like that's a product of society, bro. They've taken domination, competitiveness, obsession. I just did a whole fucking episode yesterday about like you need to be obsessed to be great at anything.
Right.
Because you can't have a normal mindset and be the top salesperson or athlete. Because again, as an athlete, what we put ourselves through and what I put myself through, no one would do. They're like, bro, you're a fucking animal. Well, right. That's why I'm in this position, dude. Right. So it comes with the territory, but because it's been labeled as bad, you'll get shunned, you'll get made fun of, they'll point the finger. And a lot of people don't know how to step into that to say, you know what? Yes, I need to be obsessed. I need to be hyper competitive. I want to dominate, because when they say that, everything and everyone around them suppresses that. And they're like, no, you can't say that. But, to that point, that's why it's essential that people get around the right people. You have to get around, like an athletic team and a coach or a coaching program or whatever it is that builds that in you, that reinforces that feeds that flame so it burns brighter and hotter. Because if not, dude, you're going to get drowned out, because it's difficult, right? It's difficult to be that lone ranger when everyone else is like, dude, you're a loser, or what are you doing? You're crazy. You're not going to make it. You're from here. Your parents are broke. How are you going to be rich, right? Like all the stuff they a
lot of people just always projecting their insecurities onto you and their doubts onto you. It's funny. I went to my 20-year high school reunion, and I want to share something with you that I think I haven't shared with anybody on the podcast, but we had to write like a 10-year, our quote, right? Mm-hmm. Like whatever our quote was in our senior year. And I wrote, I'll see you at the 500,000 mark in 10 years. Like, that's what I wrote that was my little thing. And people thought like I was a broke kid, just like my parents put me in a good school. They didn't have any money. The parents lost their house to foreclosure. My dad filed bankruptcy. I mean, we were broke. But I knew, like, it must have been that poor thing. I knew that I wanted something better. I knew that not having money meant I had no control. And I think it boils down to having control when you have money. And I was so driven for that. The one thing that you said that I really want to dig on a little bit more, that is something that I struggle with myself, I think, is you said you have like dog discipline. And I wanted to talk about like what that looks like for you today, because you're in awesome shape. I always see you doing like monkey bars. You take your physical fitness very seriously. I'm sure that translates into real estate. It's not just one thing and you don't do the other. So talk to me a little bit about how you develop such good discipline.
Well, I mean, I would say that's twofold. Me being a kid and really forging that in athletics with basketball, I wasn't naive when I was a kid. I knew that only like 0.03% or 1% of players would make the NBA or, overseas or something like that. So I knew, okay, mathematically the odds are against me, but how do I even out that equation as much as possible? Well, I need to master my craft. So when I picked up a basketball, I'm ambidextrous as a person. Like I can right, left, right. Like I can do a lot with both hands, but I'm a righty when I shoot. And I notice a lot of the kids, even a year or two in, can't do anything with their left hand. So what did I do right away? I was dribbling with both and doing both. So a week later, when we're doing tryouts, they're like, damn, this kid can already do layups and do everything with both hands. I'm like, yeah, I worked on it. It didn't take long, but they don't know I put in hours every day to drill both hands behind the back, right through the legs. And even to this day, like even when I play, people are like, wait, are you right or left-handed? Because you shoot right-handed, but you almost play like a lefty. Because like I worked on my left so much on the basketball court, it's almost like I favor going left as if I'm a lefty, but I'm not. So it really just comes down to that. So my discipline came from what was in front of it, which was the obsession with being the best and accomplishing the goal. And I think that's where people have a disconnect. I wanted to be the best and number one and in the NBA. So obviously a prerequisite of that is I work my ass off and I'm disciplined. Like you can't, like when you commit to that, you automatically accept what's beneath it. And one of those things that's beneath it is being disciplined. Same thing with me not drinking and smoking, right? Same thing with me making sure I go to sleep on time. Same thing with me making sure I do a cold plunge. I've been doing that shit for 20, 25 years, bro, before it ever got popular. After every practice in a fucking 25 or 30 degree, almost frozen tank to help my muscles recover. Did I like it? Hell no. But I did that. I took a hot shower. I stretched. I was brand new the next day while everyone else was coming in sore, like, because they weren't willing to do the cold plunge. And I did it and did the sports therapy and massage. And I would stay after practice for an hour or two and show up an hour or two before to do the prep because I knew what the result was for. So when I accept what's at the end of it, everything that comes beneath it is an automatic in my eyes. And I think a lot of people, and this is why I talk about commitment. People will talk a big game and talk a lot of shit. I'm sure you've heard it, Troy, even in your program, but they don't mean it. If you really were committed to being that number one agent in your market and you're brand new today, then every waking moment you would be talking about real estate, working real estate, and it would be obvious watching you. Okay, this kid wants to be number one, right? Versus if you say that and then I go to your house and you're watching Netflix, it's like, bro, you were never committed. So if that kid asks me, oh, how can I be disciplined? It's like, I'm not even going to answer that question, right? You know what I mean? Because it doesn't correlate. And I think we attack that question or that concept from the wrong position. And that's why we can't deal with it. That kid watching Netflix doesn't want to be disciplined. He's just asking that because it's a valid excuse in his mind when he's just not committed to what he wants. He hasn't said, I want to make the 100K and I'm going to do whatever the fuck it takes.
Right.
And I deal with these people every day, bro, because we'll do Zoom calls and I have salespeople selling my coaching and we qualify out a lot of people because I say, even if you're willing to pay right now, I've told this to a lot of people, even if you're willing to pay me, I wouldn't take your money because you're not committed. You're either going to join and never get on the member site. You're going to join and bullshit for 30 days and ask for your money back. It's not going to go good. Until you're committed, don't schedule another call with me. And I give people that tough love because they need it, bro. They need it. Everyone else is so charm and ultra soft around them and pussyfooting around. Dude, we need to tell people the reality. I've had agents, bro, tell me, oh, business is going good. And then 3 questions later, I find out they've done 1 transaction in 6 months. It's like, dude, you're like DEFCON red about to fail out of the business. What the fuck do you mean business is good? Like, are you that delusional?
Right. Yeah.
Like you need to have a reality with your situation. This isn't about insulting you. This is just, you need to be real, bro. Even somebody raising their hand and saying, I need a coach or I need help. They won't even do that, bro. Oh no, I can figure it out on my own. Well, the last 2 years says that you haven't. What do you mean you're going to figure it out on your own?
Yeah. So real quick, did that come? So I have 2 9-year-olds almost turning 10, and I constantly, the nature versus nurture. I think it's 100% nurture. And I think that, was your dad tough on you or your mom tough on you? Is that where some of this came from?
I had a lot of respect for my dad. Like I almost feared him in a way. And again, I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but the way my childhood is my parents worked so much, bro. I didn't even have that much interaction with them. But the little bit that I did, it was very traditional in the sense that like when my dad wanted to whoop my ass, he did. I got the belt. Yeah. I got beat up. I've gotten slapped more than a few times by my mom. So the discipline was there and there was like this healthy respect and fear, almost so much so that when I was out and if somebody wanted to do something crazy, I was like, fuck, man. Like, what if my dad finds out? He's going to beat the fuck out of me. Like, I don't want to deal with it because a lot of my friends didn't have that. They didn't have parents who would whoop their ass and stuff like that. So like they couldn't relate. And when they'd be like, wait, you don't want to go? I'm like, no, bro, because if my dad finds out, he will beat the shit out of me for like 2 days. And you know what? I felt the wrath of the belt before. I don't want to feel it again.
Yeah.
So, but I have a lot of love for my parents and I thank them to this day for how they raised me. It's just, again, because we were immigrants, they had to work so much. I didn't have a lot of hanging out time with them. Like my dad would leave, bro. He was a truck driver. I would see him for like 1 or 2 hours a night, twice a week. And then he would leave and drive from like California to fucking Georgia and back. And he'd be gone for 3 or 4 days. He'd come back that night, sleep, leave the next day again. For the majority of my like primitive years, I saw them a little bit more in like the end of middle school. And then I got shipped off to a military school in high school in a different state. So,
wow, that's crazy. So tell me about the military school. Me and my son had a conversation last night. He's like, Dad, stop yelling at me. I'm always reminding him, you got to feed the dog. You got to do this. And he's like, I don't like it when you yell at me. I said, well, how would you like it if I continue to ask you the same thing over and over and over again, and you never do it? At what point in time is yelling okay? And then I was like, I happen to believe I think I'm right, but I'm just curious, like, because I'm pretty tough on my kids. I'm just curious from your perspective. And then I was looking at it, I was like, I literally Googled military school last night. I'm like, that's what's next for you, pal, is what I'm thinking in my head. Like, if you're not going to get it from me, you're going to get it from somebody else. How was that?
That's a great question, bro, because I mean, from what you asked me earlier, the competitiveness and all that, like, and I gave you like a 2-part answer, first being kind of what I gave you. And then the second part is, and I'll answer your question here in a second. When you study like old badasses, like think of like old warriors and those cultures, it required a lot of discipline and hardship. So to answer your question, yes, because I don't have a kid, bro. And if I do, I'm going to love the kid, but I will be very stern with him too, because as much as people would label what you're doing tough, or, okay, maybe you're being hard on the kid, would they say it's fair though? Because that's the key. I would say it's fair. It's like, son, I've asked you 6 times to take out the trash and you haven't. I have to change the strategy to get you to actually do it. You know what I mean? And I'm not hitting you. I'm not throwing you against the wall. I just raise my voice. Take out the trash. Yeah. Right? Like, I have to make an adjustment as a leader here because I'm your father and I'm your leader. So, but it teaches discipline, bro. It's the same thing with sports. So yes, like I've messaged my coaches, the ones I can still contact. And I'm like, thank you, because I know you were very hard on me. And they told me, I'm being harder on you because I see something special in you, but I'm hard on everybody anyway. Yeah. And back then, I never was disrespectful to a coach. Yes, sir. No, sir. I always did what they told me to do. I never badmouthed them. I never talked back to them ever, even if I didn't like what they were doing and felt like I was being treated unfairly. But looking back on it now, 100%, it built character, bro. Because especially in today's world, you would agree, everything is so soft and accommodating. It's okay.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Nobody gets that. Nobody gets that. So you need that dose at the bare minimum to balance out the softness that we're getting, but to forge something in you. It's the same thing when you go door to door and you cold call and you're dealt with the brunt of the attack of stop calling me and no, and the rejection. That builds character in the individual, which is why I force people to do it who come, and do what I do or join my team or join my coaching. I take them through like at least a boot camp where we do that continuously for like 90 days, 6 months, or a year to build that character. I said, there's no skipping that. You will come out of that a fucking beast if you commit to it, but it's necessary. It's trial under fire. It's the blacksmith heating up his metal and hitting it. He's got to hit it and heat it up to forge it and build it. And the same thing for the human being. So if somebody was to come on your situation and argue, I would make the argument in your favor. And I would say, well, he's teaching his son, right? Well, we're reinforcing the wrong behaviors and he's not learning. And at some point, but that dynamic is always present between men as well, whether it's a child or not, the potential for violence between men, right? This is why you see a lot of women get off top and yell at men because they know the man's not going to hit them. We wouldn't treat each other that way because we have a healthy respect for each other because we know we don't want to go to blows. Right. So we'll have a healthy respect, right? Yeah. And the child needs to learn that as well. But that, I think, dynamic is always present within men and has to be taught and present. So what you're doing, raising of the voice or something like that, I don't think there's anything wrong with it because look at the animal kingdom. Yeah. My animals respect me. And every once in a while, I'll give them a look or raise my voice and they act accordingly. I'm not being cruel to the animal. I take very good care of them. I feed them. But I have to demonstrate that, hey, I'm the leader here every once in a while. And in that case, it was raising my voice to say, hey, dude, I'm in charge here. You're going to listen to me.
Yeah, no, 100%. In fact, I got my guy right here. And this guy, come here. This guy follows me around everywhere. And he's had his fair share of smacks on the face. And like, he will take a bullet for me. And like, the last time I cried was when the one I had before him. I went and dug him a grave in the middle of the desert in Las Vegas, Oh, man. And people don't understand that, but I think what you're getting to is that there's just too many pussies. You know what I mean? Like there's just too many people who are raised because you're worried about, like, my wife will tell me, well, we can't do that because we're worried about what these people think. And I'm like, listen, I don't care what anybody thinks. I care about like developing a leader and a confident man that can stand up for himself, that knows like somebody like yourself. I see a confident man, somebody who's been tough and somebody who knows how to take care of themselves and probably has reinvented themselves a few times. I wanted to jump into the shutdown on the social media. You mentioned like you were going to go into that. I want to tell okay. So I was pulling up your YouTube videos. You got like these badass videos where you got like million 6 views with Paul Walker. Obviously you're a fan of cars. You mentioned you wanted a Lamborghini earlier and some stuff like that. I like driving fast. My mom said this to me the other day. She was out here. I got a Porsche and she's like, I was like, yeah, I went 160 miles an hour today. She goes, you're a father and a husband. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I said, I'm still me. Okay. And I like to drive fast. And, so I just like the adrenaline rush. You know what I mean? I like going fast and doing that whole thing. So tell me what happened with your social, because you said you would have had a lot better thing going for you until they kind of put the
bro
to you.
Especially like when I bought. It's funny you brought up the Lambo. I bought the Lambo 6 years ago and had it for 3 years and drove the shit out of it and took it on rallies. Right, like I lived it up with that thing, and then I sold it and then got a Porsche. I got a 911 GT3 RS. I had that for like 2 years and I sold it. So I've done the whole car thing. I had a Supra, a Mark IV Supra from the first Fast and Furious, sold that.
Yes.
But really, it started, I would say, even before COVID, man. I just started really, because once you really grow a following and people tune in more with you, especially me, I'm very personable. I go live all the time. Like people get to see the real side of me. I'm not just this shiny object who only does fancy edited videos, right? Yeah.
Right.
I hate when people do that. Especially when they're fake, like they're one way on video and then a different way in person. I can't stand
totally like a politician.
Yeah, right. So I started, people are, hey man, like the teas that you drink or how you're eating, I started sharing that and they started censoring me and saying, hey, you're not a medical professional. Even though I was clear, I was like, I'm not giving advice, this is just what I do. And they started kind of censoring and deleting stories and pictures, right? This is before COVID, by the way, before COVID. So this is like probably late 2019 going into 2020, so about 4 years ago almost, right? Then you fast forward, the whole C word, I don't want to get you banned, bro, so I'll just say the C word happens. And initially I made a video. I was like, hey, I don't know what's going on, I'm going to look into it. My advice for you guys is this. And I gave a basic video. Don't freak out, relax, chill. Worst thing you can do from an emotional state is freak out, because then this happens and blah blah blah. And that video, within 30 minutes of me posting, it gets flagged, right? Demonetized. And then within 24 hours gets deleted and says false information, bullying, threatening, right? Like, I'm like, bullying? I'm giving people advice. What the fuck are they talking about, right? But whatever, right? I'm like, whatever, maybe it was a one-off, right?
Yeah.
I then, start looking more into this whole issue that was going on. I decided to go to a hospital. I was like, you know what? I want to see this thing for myself, because what I'm being told, I don't believe.
Right.
It just,
me either.
Something's not adding up, right?
Yeah.
I'm spotting too many holes. They might be right. Let me clear up my doubts. If I can confirm these things that I'm suspicious of, I'll conform then, because what they're telling me is true. I go to a hospital, bro, fucking empty.
Right.
Empty. Two people there with the C word. And they're like, oh, we've, I'm like, so, and I'm recording this, by the way.
Yeah.
I tell the nurses, I'm just recording this for my YouTube, right? Like a lot of people aren't from LA. They're wondering like what's going on. And, if it's okay with you guys, I just want to show a little clip. They're like, yeah, no problem. This is before it got a mass hysteria, right?
Right.
I go, they're like, oh yeah, we have 3 beds here. There's 2 patients. I say, so if the news comes and they say, like, do they tell the people how many beds are designated for the C word or no? And she's like, well, no, they'll just say they're at capacity or full capacity or almost full capacity. I'm like, wow. So they would come here and say they're at almost full capacity with only 2 patients. And they're like, yeah. And I'm just like, hold. And then it blew open my mind. I was like, wow, dude. I was like, my suspicions were correct. I post that video. Within 24 hours, flagged, demonetized, deleted. They give me 2 strikes on my YouTube channel, my main YouTube channel. And just so you know, if you get 3, they delete your channel and you can never have it back.
So you're at 2.
I got 2 from that one video.
From you that got one 2 video, from one video.
2. They send me a warning. Now, without me knowing, if you have a YouTube channel, right, and you get a video demonetized, YouTube sends you an email. Hey, we demonetized this video for XYZ. Check into it. If you want to contest it, you can. They started doing that and I wasn't getting emails. So I start going through my YouTube and I'm like, wait, what the fuck? This popular video is demonetized. Why? I contest it. They reject it. Stays demonetized. That had nothing to do with the C word, right? So I'm like, these motherfuckers are going in and taking my popular videos and demonetizing them. Why? Because then it feeds me less into the algorithm and then I get less views. So they're sneakily doing these things. I go on Instagram overnight. I go from getting 8, 9, 10,000 views on my stories to 50 or 100 like this. I lost 99 point something percent of my viewership like this. That amount of followers I have on Instagram, 44,000, that's been the same, bro, for 4 years now. I had 40,000 4 years ago, bro. 4 fucking years ago. And I was getting thousands of likes and comments on everything, tens of thousands of views. So I tell people, because some people say, well, it's you're the reason. I'm like, so 99.9% of people don't agree with me and think I'm crazy. I mean, if we're going to say 50% dropped, fair. Half the people agree with me, half don't. I could accept that argument. For 99% of people to abandon me doesn't make any fucking sense if we just look at the math. So, I mean, there's more to it, bro. They deleted my Facebook, my original Facebook that had like 5,000 friends and like 50,000 followers. They deleted it just straight out. They kicked me off of it and deleted it. I'm still demonetized on Instagram, so I'm not monetized. Like when you do reels and posts and stuff, they actually pay you. They do payouts now. Same thing with Facebook.
Right.
If you're monetized and they push your content more because you make them money. I'm demonetized, so I'm lower priority. Nobody sees my stuff. People say, hey, they'll send me videos. They'll follow me on Instagram. It says, are you sure you want to follow this guy? He's posting dangerous stuff. Like it sends a warning. People show me that when they search for me, they can't find me. People say, hey, look, I have you subscribed on YouTube, notifications on, bell icon, get an email alert. But when you post a video, I don't get anything. Then they'll show me their feed, subscription feed. I don't pop up in it unless they scroll all the way to the bottom. I'm at the very bottom. Same thing with Instagram. People would search for me. This isn't for everybody, but it's for most people. They'll put me in the bar and then they'll show me a video and then they'll scroll. They'll put my name exactly. I don't know if it would do that now to you, but
I want to just see, man.
But for years it was doing that, you know? Some of the stuff might change. Some of the stuff might work for you and it doesn't work for other people. But the point is they started manipulating the results that people were getting and my viewership just dropped. Like if you go to my original YouTube now, I went from getting 5, 10, 15, 20,000 views a video to 100. You don't just suddenly destroy yourself like that overnight unless like people find out I'm a murderer or some shit like that, right? Like there has to be
your views would probably go up if you're a murderer.
Right, exactly. So it just doesn't make any sense. So and that was that, bro. They pretty much just crushed my platform, demonetized me, shunned me, and from there, all my organic reach went down to basically zero.
How'd you take that? Like, I mean, what did you think? Did you feel like I need to go and recreate myself a different way? Or I mean, like, you know, you're at their mercy, right? They're controlling the narrative, right? There's no way that you're going to be able to like go and appeal unless you're like buddies with somebody, right? Obviously, Joe Rogan can say what the hell he wants, but like there's very few people that can. So yeah, I'm cognizant of what I put out there. You know what I mean? I try to be, I am careful because I don't want to say a bunch of stuff that's going to get me banned. And that is sad that we have to be careful because it should, because here's the other thing is like the other day, this is funny. This is literally yesterday. I always watch my videos when they come out just to see like how my editors do. I don't watch them before until they come out. Mm-hmm. And there's a male enhancement video, like a pornographic male enhancement video ad on my thing, like for me, like targeted toward me. I don't know how they found out that I might need help there, but I'm like literally like going, okay, this is weird, right? But the biggest thing is like, we all know like porn is a third of the traffic on the internet. Okay. 1/3 of the traffic, if not more, is and that's driven by, you know, Google and Yahoo and Bing and all these guys are making money off of that. Yep. So what the hell does it matter if Bryan Casella has an opinion?
And the interesting part is some of the stuff that I would share, citing citations and being thorough with what I was saying and making sure that I wasn't making shit up and getting censored for. Other people either immediately or within months are saying the same thing and nothing is happening or they're blowing up. And I'm like, doesn't make sense. So even now I look at the people who can, in quotes, get away with saying it. And I'm like, they must be on the inside somehow, because how are they saying the same thing that I said, being cheered, congratulated, and growing, but I'm being shunned off the internet completely almost and being put into obscurity? That doesn't make any sense. If that's the standard, hey, you can't say this or talk about blank. What's the difference, right? But you asked me how I took it. Well, before I started talking about it, I knew what would happen, right? But I'm the type of dude where I said, you know what? I talk so much to people about personal development, standing for your code, your ethics as a human being. Right. And the sad reality is most people agree with what I say about it because they know. And a lot of the stuff that I said, I tell people now, look, what I said was true 2 years ago. Look, what I said was true 3 years ago. And especially me being in LA, that was the epicenter of all that stuff, of the extreme measures that were being taken. So when I moved to Miami, we were still locked down in LA, bro, like a year and a half or 2 years into this thing.
Is that what brought you to Miami?
Well, not really. I mean, I always loved Miami and planned on getting a second home here anyway. And I was already kind of 1 foot out of California for many reasons besides the C word, especially like taxes and that kind of stuff. But when that happened, and the shutdowns happened and it was that bad, it just basically accelerated the process of me permanently moving, you know? But I'd come out to Miami a lot, and I always knew, like, you know what, Miami has a special place in my heart. I really like it here.
100%. I had an office in Miami in 2010. I had an office in Miami Lakes as a realtor during the REO bust. So I was trying to get some of that foreclosure money out there. I opened up my office in the Miami Lakes, the Bank of America building out there. Nice. And then, and so I actually am building a house in Naples right now. So right across the way from you, about an hour and a half. We'll probably end up getting Miami Dolphins season tickets when we go out there. So I'm with you, man. I love Miami. Like, I know A1A, I know all the streets from Brickell all the way up to Sunny Isles. I know it very, very well. I've freaking driven around that whole area big time. I mean, I don't know Broward County, but I know Miami-Dade very well.
Yeah. And to go back to what you asked me, bro, I took it well. The only mistake that I made was I didn't start putting money into my brand and fighting the censorship. I kind of let it sink me from an organic standpoint. Yeah. And now, I'm doing different marketing things, and I am putting stuff into marketing and ads and that kind of stuff, because I almost have to at this point for anybody to even see me. But that would be the one thing I would change. But do I regret it? No. I'm a man of my word, and I stand for what I represent, and that's what it is. And if that means I need to be shunned off the internet because of my true opinions, well, it just demonstrates my character, that I'm willing, because I've told people I will never sell out for money.
Yeah.
I left EXP too. I was making over $30,000 a month off their revenue share. I left because they started trying to censor me too. And I just left. I cut ties with them. Right. Wow. That was one of the reasons I left and joined Real Brokerage, because of that, even though I was passively already building $500,000 a year off of that. But I left. And I remember when I made the video, I said, remember all you guys that, claim that I'm fake or this and that, or that I am a sellout. I literally just walked away from $500,000 free dollars a year because of what I stand for. No questions asked. Who else do you know that would do that? Because the same motherfuckers that you follow zip it to make fucking 10 grand a month or less.
Yeah, that's pretty ballsy. I mean, I'd probably try to figure out a way to sue him for sure. Like, I mean, I don't know if there's some breach of contract there. I know that there's a guy in Miami who's the number one class action lawsuit guy in the world, Stanley Rosenblatt. I actually boated for dollars his house when I was. Nice. I used to rent a boat and go out there to Star Island and check out all the houses. And he had a palm tree literally going through one of the houses he owned. But I respect the hell out of you for doing that stuff. I think it shows big balls, and I think that for every loss or every personal assault that I've had plenty of things go not the way that I expected them to go. And life's not fair. That's what we're told as a kid, and it's true. It's not just a saying. It's true. Life is not fair. So it just shows the warrior in you. I also wanted to touch on another thing that I'm very interested. You're very like holistic, and do you do yoga? What do you do? What's like kind of your daily routine?
Yeah, I did yoga for a long time because I wasn't really smart about like stretching when I was an athlete, and I would always pull my hamstrings and stuff. So my coaches literally forced me to clean up my diet back then and start doing yoga to become more limber. From there, I don't really practice like in a studio anymore. But I did that for years, and then I did Bikram yoga, the hot yoga. That's fucking hell if you've ever done it. Like,
I'd love it. I do it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I did that, and I still
It
practice
is
that
hell.
from time to time, but it's more just my own personal practice of stretching. Like I can do the splits, and I'm just really about being limber and continuing that practice on my own. So I definitely have done that. I still work out really, really hard, right? I still train continuously. I still do calisthenics. I still box. I mean, I do a lot, but that's just the physical prowess for me has always been important, you know? And I always tell people, especially even in our industry, like real estate or anything that's a business, like when people see you, they're judging you right away. Right. And if I show up like a slob and out of shape, it's like I'm demonstrating to you, I don't even take care of myself. How can I take care of you? And I want to have every I dotted and every T crossed. I want to be the complete package. I want to be a smooth talker. I want to look good. I want to move good. I want to be mentally sharp. I want to be personally developed. I want to be confident. I don't want one missing weak link, because then that's where my competition is going to come in and get me. I want to be the complete package. And the physical prowess to me is something that fuels, like we brought up earlier, competitiveness, wanting to dominate, wanting to be obsessed, because calisthenics is an example, bro, and gymnastics is hard as fuck, especially being a bigger dude like me. Some of those moves you see people do on Instagram, for me to achieve those are going to take years of training to unlock them. Right. Like I'm barely now starting to be able to do the handstand push-up where you can hold the handstand and do a push-up.
That is very hard. Yeah. I can't even do the handstand against the wall barely.
There we go. So, and again, when you look at it from the outside, you respect it, but when you get into it, you're like, fuck, man, I got a long way to go. And I'm, November will be 2 years. I've been training with this trainer in calisthenics and gymnastics, and I'm barely scratching the surface still. Right. For me to really do advanced stuff, like advanced stuff, it's probably going to be at least another year to 2 years before I can get on Instagram and flex like, oh, look at me. But I'll say, if you've been following me for the last fucking 4 years, you will have seen the progressions that I've been posting this whole time. But people miss that, dude. But I think as a man, especially, you need to be tapped into something like that, whether it's your business, the physical prowess, something that you're pushing for and striving for. Because that, to me, in my experience and kind of what I've learned, is really what fuels the fulfillment of the human being, especially if you're progressing in something and going after something and actively working at it every day. You're going to be happy. You might not be ecstatic because maybe your money isn't right yet, but you're still going to be accomplished as a human being because you're like, you know what? I'm working at it every day. So at least I can sleep peacefully, Yeah,
I think that's a great piece of advice, Bryan. So what's next for you? Like you've got a coaching business, you've got a successful real estate business. I mean, you seem like you're just dominating, and I get like, when I can always tell when I like to talk to somebody when I get excited, like you're getting me excited, like I'm freaking ready to go do something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm getting ready to go to the Chiefs games. Those freaking Detroit fans better be freaking scared right now. You're firing me up. So what's next for you, Bryan?
From the business side, agent attraction, right? Because EXP and Real have a revenue share model where the agents that we bring in, from the split that they pay the company, we get a small piece of it, right? So the revenue that they bring to the company, they pay us a small portion of it. So that's a passive and residual business that I'm building up. The one that I told you I walked away from at EXP, that was about 30 grand a month. In less than a year at Real, I'm already at half that. I'm making about 15 grand a month off that. So I really want to grow that and continue I want to turn that into $1 million business for sure. Like $1 million a year business. I can do that. Right. Obviously, I'm putting in more systems and refining and growing my coaching and scaling out that platform. I have salespeople taking calls. The marketing brings in the lead. So that's more automated now in the sense that I'm not just organically waiting for people to sign up or me, myself, getting on a lot of these coaching calls. My agents and my salespeople are, and I'm only getting on the coaching calls for like the higher ticket stuff that's like 10,000 and above, right? Like I'll do those calls.
Right.
Other than that, man, those are the two main points that I'm focused on business wise. Like the real estate stuff is cool, but nobody wants to sell real estate for the rest of their life. You know what I mean? So the coaching and the agent attraction is more what I've built and what I'm more passionate about and excited about. And that's kind of where my attention is. And then on the physicality side, it's the calisthenics, man. I want to be one of those badasses that gets millions of views on Instagram because I'm so fucking strong. That's
awesome.
Gonna take years. That's going to take years. But
so what's the goal? Tell me, like in your mind, like what does badass equal in, like, what do you want to be able to do?
The advanced moves. So I don't know if you're familiar with the calisthenics moves, like the planche. Do you know what that is? The planche is basically idea. Okay. So the first one is a front lever. That's where you see guys get on the bar, like the pull-up bar, and they'll literally pull their body horizontally to the ground.
Yeah, all core.
Yeah, it's mostly actually your scapula and your back, believe it or not.
Okay.
Right? So to be able to hold that position, right, with my arms like this and my body straight, to hold that, a front lever is what it's called. That's one of the most advanced isometric moves that you can do. Okay.
Okay.
I want to be able to do that. I can't do that yet. It's probably gonna take me another year, maybe more, to unlock that realistically, right?
Right.
Hold that position. I can raise, but I can't hold it. Right. That's another level of strength. Now, the other one is the planche. You ever see guys just on their hands on the ground, but then their body's up?
Yeah.
Gymnasts do it. That's the planche, the full planche, where your arms are locked. They're probably at your waist at
it's
an
like
angle.
it's like a plank, but your body's off the ground
in midair.
Without any toes.
Exactly. Very hard. And they're holding their body straight. So their arms are like this, but their body's up like this. I want to be able to do a full planche. So those are the two main moves that I want to be able to unlock on this journey that I knew from the beginning would probably take years. That to me is like, okay, I'm strong as fuck, but I know I'm going to go beyond it because it's fun, right? Like I'm enjoying calisthenics a lot more than I thought, but those would be the two kind of markers like, okay, I made it. And I already have a plan. Like I'm thinking of even taking a picture, right? And then putting that on the wall when I achieve those moves and putting the date and being like, I accomplished it on this day, and like tracking it and making like a fucking mural of it. Cause then I can say, hey, I started calisthenics this day. I unlocked this move year 2, year 3, year 4. Because I'm even thinking about going to actual gymnastics gyms and playing around on the rings and all that stuff. Cause it's fun. Like I'm really liking it. And it's so hard. Like people have no idea how difficult that shit is.
I think it's awesome. I think it's very inspiring to know that you're just like, how old are you, Bryan?
37.
Like the fact that like a lot of like, I feel like my goal is to be in better shape than I am at 50. I'm 40. I'll turn 46 this year than I ever was in my life, you know? And what I hear from you, you have to put the time in. And you're talking about like, when you talk about years, it literally takes you years to achieve any level of success in anything. And so the fact that you don't have that outcome of like, I want to see this, people will put like, well, I want, like I say, well, I want to be in the best shape in 50 by the time I'm 50. Are you a David Goggins guy?
No, I mean, I know who he is, but no, I don't follow him.
I mean, it's just, you remind me, you kind of got a different, like a similar vibe. It's just like, go out there and be a savage. You know what I mean? Just go out there and push your body to limits. The only limits that you have is what's in your mind, right?
Dude, and the thing is people will watch content now and treat that as being a savage. It's like, dude, you're not doing any work. Like when I look at an agent, right? Like I had a call, you know, and bless this kid, right? In a way, like I'm not dissing him, but I won't say his name. We had a call. He's like, oh, you know, I'm living with my mom, like in her basement. I'm like 10K in debt. I'm like, why the fuck are you scheduling a call with me now, bro? You're literally at the end. I can't do shit for you because we're going to talk about my coaching. I was like, why would you let yourself get in this position? What the fuck are you doing? I was like, you should be in your mom's basement as a boiler room, cold calling 5 hours a day and out there knocking on fucking doors 6 hours a day to make some fucking money, dude. But like, and I tell people the formula, just if we're going to talk information, has been out on my YouTube for years, but no one has fucking put in the effort that I put in for that amount of time. Because no one's willing to fucking put in the work like that, like you said, and be a fucking savage. But if you want the rewards of the savage, you got to be a fucking savage, bro. And it blows my mind that even people who join my coaching, sometimes I can tell there's like this expectation that I'm going to give them some secret. It's like, okay, you're here now, get to work. It's time to fucking make some money now, but you're going to have to work. I'm going to help you and we have the lectures and all this stuff and the support, but you got to fucking work. The calls are an hour, then you're 23 hours by yourself. Go work. Right? Like there's nothing magical about it, but people don't want to do it, bro. And again, it's surface level reasons. Well, I'm not motivated. All that is bullshit, man. It's just people aren't committed. They're apathetic about life. They don't know what they want. They don't want to engage with life. They don't even want to go out their fucking house. Like when they go outside, they don't talk to anybody. They don't interact with people. They put their head down like a fucking peon and go to the store and buy food. It's like, dude, you're like, how are you a human being?
Yeah.
You know, like I tell people, I'm not fucking special, bro. I just did something, and we can say this case, like talk to people. We'll just say communicate to a lot of people every day for years, and it transformed me. That's it. Let's boil it down to that. And if you're willing to do that and then just go through the emotional bullshit that everybody goes through, just like I did, you'll make it to the other side and suddenly have access to all this stuff that other people don't, because you did something that other people aren't willing to do. Right. And it just blows my mind that people have heard that for years and years and years, and they still don't do shit. Right. Like that same person who says, oh, I'm doing good. It's like, well, what did you do today? They're like, well, you know, I watched a YouTube video and listened to a podcast. I'm like, are you fucking serious? Like, that's a productive day.
Bryan, man, I want you to come to my mastermind, dude. We're having a mastermind in November. I think you should be like the motivational dude. Like, you're just like, I'm serious. If you're open to it, we're lining up people right now, and
yeah, bro, let me know if the dates work. I can definitely like seriously consider it, because if there's something you want me to go over or teach, bro, or do public speaking or social media or
I think you, whatever, I think you just need to talk. I just think you need to talk fucking mindset, dude. I think you could talk mindset and social media, but you're a mindset guy. I think that more than anything, that's the vibe I'm picking up is like, I mean, everything that you seem to aim and put your finger at, you accomplish. And so I think that boils down to mindset, not making excuses. I mean, and that's awesome.
And really the key to kind of wrap it up, bro, is like, even when I was new, regardless of where you start or what you think you have or what you don't have, there has to be a resounding belief behind it. Like when I got into real estate, the one thing nobody could question, bro, is that I believe that I could do it. And the easiest way I can relate this to people is like when you were a kid, if you were like 7 and you suddenly decided to be an astronaut, nobody could talk you out of it. Not your parents, not the pastor if you guys went to church, not your teacher. You would literally tell somebody to fuck off if they try to talk you out of it. And we would laugh and it's okay. But as an adult, suddenly you don't do it. Right. And I call it like childlike stubbornness. That I kept with me, bro. Because maybe it was because everybody didn't believe in me, like with basketball or anything else. And it was almost like a middle finger I was giving to everybody. Like, watch me prove you wrong again.
You got a chip on your shoulder.
Yeah. Because when the belief is there now, like if you coach them or I coach them or they have a coach and they get help, now they're going to take it and actually apply it and not question every fucking thing every step of the way. Well, Troy, what if this doesn't work?
Yeah.
Like that only comes from somebody who doesn't have the resounding belief that they're going to figure it out and make it to the end. And like, I love it. I can't fix that in somebody. That's like a self thing, because if it's required that I talk that belief into you, well, what happens when I'm gone?
Yeah, no, I love it. I think that you're spot on. I think that, everything that you have said is spot on. I think that you are a man of your word. I think that you're completely dedicated, and I think you're going to accomplish great things. And you have already accomplished many great things. And I think that the best is yet to come. I think you've got a long story to tell. And I think that, this is all part of your journey, and I'm excited to keep watching it. I mean, I think, one thing somebody told me who got me kind of into the social media space is they said, you don't know who's watching you. And like, I watched you. I was like, this guy's cool. Like he's got a cool, I was into the cool gymnastics things on the bars. I'm like, this guy's out here doing stuff. And like the authenticity of your persona. So I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. And I do mean that. If you are interested, I'll text you the dates and I will get you those. And if it's something that makes sense for you, obviously we'll take care of everything you coming out here, and you're more than welcome to bring a significant other or whatever. But yeah, I think that you're totally motivational. It's one of my favorite podcasts. I just love hearing from you, dude. You're really cool. And I know that we were supposed to meet a long time ago, so it's like a lot of buildup on my end too. So,
well, I appreciate you having me, bro, because it's rare too that we can come on a podcast and just kind of shoot the shit openly and honestly, because typically it's very, traditional. So what do you recommend to the new agent? You know what I mean? Like it's very almost like transactional, and it gets a little boring to do that over and over.
No, man, this is raw and real. I'm the same way, dude. If I get censored, so be it. I've had worse happen. I'll have more bad shit happen to me. So, let's leave it. So how do people follow you? How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah. If you want to like talk to somebody directly, BryanCasella.com, that'll take you to my website, right? And you can actually live chat with somebody if you really want to get a hold of somebody. But Instagram, I would say just my name, Bryan Casella, like you see on here, BryanCasella. That's my Instagram. I still run my personal Instagram. So if you DM me, it might take me some time to rifle through all the messages, but I'll get back to you.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Guys, make sure you give him a 5-star review. Make sure you share this podcast with a friend, especially somebody who's down in the dumps living with their mom in their basement. Like give this to them and turn it up. Okay. I mean, they need to hear the message.
It's sad, man. It's sad how many of those people I see and that message me, it's so people think everyone's doing so good. They're not, man. A lot of people, I know people who are famous. I've had famous people, bro, that I know on a personal level ask me for money, bro. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, people, it's all about showing and not doing. Like everybody's all about the show. Let me get up. Like I know, speaking of that, I know somebody on social media, and I got to be careful with what I say, but I know somebody who bought a plane, couldn't afford it, just for flex, and then like kind of that fizzled out and that was gone, and claims to be a real estate investor, doesn't own one piece of property. And there's so many, we wonder, because you and I are both real. And so for us to think that other people aren't is kind of foreign, right? But there's a lot of fakers out there. There's just a lot of fakes.
There is, bro. And we can save that for another conversation too, bro. Because like some of the stuff that people promote, even in ads, I watch it. I'm like, wow, people buy that bullshit? Like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, right. It's nuts. All right, man. Bryan, I appreciate you coming on the show. I appreciate everything. Make sure you give him a 5-star review. Peace.
Are you interested in investing in real estate, but you don't feel like you got the time to take a coaching program? I get it, right? You're busy, you're making money, and that's okay, but you want to invest with me because you're like, Troy, I like what you do. I see what you're doing. You're a real deal. Yes, I am. I'm an average Joe. I worked at Burger King. I worked at Red Robin. I started investing in real estate, and I started from absolutely nothing. And I will take you along with my journey, and you can get all the benefits, but you got to be an accredited investor. If you want to invest with me and you want to be a part of something great and you don't have the time, guess what? We're launching a fund that you can be a part of, but you got to be an accredited investor. And if you want to find out more about what that looks like, all you got to do is click the link and we'll show you exactly what that looks like. And guess what? If you're not an accredited investor, then you may down the road be an accredited investor. So definitely learn what that's all about and enjoy the podcast, and we'll see you on the next one.